Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What if I told you that you don't need thousands of dollars to change your life? That with just $50 in your hand and belief in your heart, you can start something that puts you on the path to financial freedom? Because today, we are going to break the myth that money makes success. It's not about how much you have, it's about what you do with what you've got. So let's dive into how to start a profitable side hustle with just $50. Step 1. Choose your hustle wisely and strategically. Don't chase trends. Look at your own skills. Are you great at writing? Try freelance content creation. Good at crafts? Start a small handmade jewelry business. Know a second language? Offer beginner language lessons online. Your talent is your foundation, and it costs nothing. Step 2. Use your $50 where it counts. Now, let's make that $50 work like $500. Spend it on one or two key things, a domain name and website hosting to create your brand, basic materials for your product, or promotional ads to reach your first few clients. Whatever it is, be intentional. Step 3. Leverage free platform. We live in the greatest era for entrepreneurship. You don't need to rent a store. You have Etsy, eBay, Shopify Starter, Facebook Marketplace. Most of these platforms are free to join or charge minimal fees when you make a sale. You can market with Instagram, promote on TikTok, create value on YouTube, all for free. Your $50 isn't your limit, it's your launch pad. Step 4. Reinvest and build smart. As you begin to make profit, don't rush to spend. Reinvest into better tools, inventory, or education. Turn $50 into $150. Then $300, then more. That's how businesses grow from one solid step to the next. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a fantasy. This is real. People are doing it every single day. And you can too. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need a big loan. You just need a decision, a start. A belief that your dream is worth $50, because when you commit to something, even a little money becomes powerful. The power is not in the dollar, it's in you. So go out there. Choose smart, start small, and build something you're proud of with just $50. When most people hear the word profitable, they think big businesses, big investments, big risks. It's easy to believe that in order to make real money, you need to already have a lot of it. But the truth is far more empowering. You don't need thousands of dollars to start building something valuable. All it takes is a mindset shift and a willingness to make your $50 work smarter, not harder. Let's break this down. That $50 might not look like much at first glance. It's the cost of a dinner out, a tank of gas, or a single trip to the grocery store. But in the right hands with the right intention and purpose, $50 becomes seed money. It becomes a spark. A small amount of money placed in the hands of someone who is determined and focused can create results that reach far beyond what most people imagine. The beauty of starting small is that it forces you to be creative and intentional. When you don't have the option to throw money at every problem, you start to think differently. You plan better. You analyze your strengths. You look for tools and platforms that are free or low cost. You learn to value every single dollar, not because you lack resources, but because you understand that real value isn't in the number, it's in the strategy behind it. Starting a side hustle with $50 also teaches one of the most important lessons in entrepreneurship: discipline. You learn quickly that success isn't about excess, it's about execution. It's about taking a small idea, refining it, and putting in the daily work to see it through. You start lean, you stay focused, and you stretch that $50 by investing in things that actually matter. Whether that means buying basic supplies to make your first product, running a simple ad to gain your first client, or getting a domain name for your new brand, you begin to understand that small, smart investments create big results over time. And let's not overlook the emotional side of this equation. When you invest even a small amount of money into something that's yours, something you've dreamed about, planned for, and committed to, you start to believe in yourself differently. That $50 isn't just cash anymore. It becomes a symbol of your potential. You're no longer just imagining ideas, you're putting real skin in the game. You're taking a chance on yourself. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to be easy. You'll make mistakes. You'll question your choices. There will be moments where you wonder if you should waited until you had more money saved up. But what you gain in confidence, experience, and momentum will be worth far more than the money itself. Because once you start seeing small wins, even $20 or $100 in profit, that's when it clicks. You realize that if you can do this with just $50, imagine what's possible with consistency and reinvestment. So don't let the number fool you. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that small means insignificant. The truth is, many successful businesses started with less than $100. Some of the world's most well-known entrepreneurs began with nothing but an idea, a plan, and a tiny bit of startup capital. What made the difference wasn't the money, it was their belief, their drive, and their ability to take that first step. And you, right now, have that same opportunity. With $50 in your hand and a clear sense of purpose, you're not just buying supplies or running ads, you're opening the door to possibility. You're beginning a journey that, if nurtured, could change the way you work, the way you earn, and the way you live. So don't wait. Don't overthink it. Start small, start smart, but most importantly, start now. When you're working with just $50 to start a side hustle, every dollar counts. That's why strategy always outweighs spending. Too often, people believe that if they had more money, they could start a better business, reach more people, or build faster. But in reality, success doesn't come from how much you spend, it comes from where you choose to spend. Strategic planning turns limited funds into powerful tools, and that's what separates those who dream from those who actually do. With limited resources, you don't have room for wasteful decisions. You can't afford to buy every shiny tool or jump into a trendy idea without a plan. You have to be intentional, thoughtful, and focused. That's where real learning happens. When you're forced to work with less, you develop better habits. You become a better decision maker. You evaluate every purchase. Will this help me reach my first customer? Will this improve my product or service? Is this absolutely necessary? Or is there a free alternative? Starting with just $50 encourages you to slow down and assess your value proposition. What are you offering? Who needs it? Where are they already spending time online? Before you spend a dime, you have to answer these questions. And that process, that clarity, is a huge advantage. Because now, when you do invest, you're investing in exactly what you need to move forward, not what feels convenient or trendy. For example, let's say you're starting a side hustle offering custom greeting cards. With no strategy, you might be tempted to spend your $50 on fancy packaging, premium tools, or an Instagram ad you haven't even designed yet. But if you plan smart, you might realize you can use free design software like Canva, promote your products in Facebook groups where your target audience already exists, and only spend money on the cardstock and envelopes to create your first batch of samples. That's strategic spending. That's how you stretch $50 into something that brings returns. And this kind of thinking applies across industries. If you're starting a freelance service writing, editing, design, virtual assistants, your strategy should begin with creating a clear service offer. Spend time crafting a killer profile on free platforms like Fiverr or Upwork. Use that $50 to buy a domain name and build a simple landing page with your services and contact info. Use free tutorials to polish your pitch and outreach messages. Suddenly, your $50 isn't just gone. It's working for you. It's building a foundation. Strategic planning also means knowing what not to do. It's easy to get caught up in aesthetics, buying logos, building complex websites, or paying for branding you're not ready for. But when you focus on what brings in the first dollar, what connects you to your customer, you begin to prioritize action over image. You realize that perfection can wait, but progress cannot. The beauty of building with strategy is that it forces you to understand your business. Every decision becomes an investment, not just a transaction. You begin to ask deeper questions. You develop patience. You become resourceful. You figure out how to test ideas before scaling them. And that mindset, that's the real gold. Because it's not just about what you do with your $50. It's about building habits and skills that will serve you long after that first hustle takes off. So when you think about launching with limited funds, don't let that scare you. Let it focus you. Let it sharpen your instincts and force you to build with care. Strategic planning turns a small amount of money into something powerful. It helps you avoid common mistakes, save time, and see results faster. It's not about the money. It's about the mindset. And when you lead with strategy, even the smallest steps move you forward. When starting a side hustle with just $50, one of the smartest moves you can make is to leverage free tools and platforms that already exist. The digital age has completely transformed the way we start businesses. 20 years ago, launching a venture required office space, inventory, marketing budgets, and often a small loan. Today, the tools you need to begin are often just a few clicks away, and most of them cost absolutely nothing. What used to take thousands of dollars in startup costs now only takes a strong Wi-Fi connection and a good idea. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, TikTok, and YouTube give you access to global audiences for free. You can promote your products, share your skills, and build a personal brand without spending a single dollar. And these aren't second-tier tools. They are the mainstream, the place where consumers already spend their time. That means you don't have to go looking for your audience. They're already there, waiting for something meaningful, creative, or helpful to grab their attention. Let's say you're starting a handmade product business: candles, jewelry, art prints. Instead of building a full commerce website, you can begin by listing on Etsy or even through a free Shopify trial. These platforms are designed for beginners. They're easy to use, require little to no coding or design skills, and come built with tools to help you get noticed. Some even let you delay paying fees until after you've made a sale, which means your $50 stays in your pocket longer. If your side hustle is service-based like tutoring, freelance writing, virtual assistants, or graphic design, you have even more free options. Fiverr, Upwork, and Freelancer Resourcefulness.com are platforms where people are already looking for help. All you need to do is create a compelling profile and start pitching. Your investment, in this case, isn't money, it's your time and energy. You may spend hours sharpening your proposals or learning how to stand out, but you won't need to spend $1 to get started. Beyond marketplaces, there are free tools for nearly every aspect of running a business. Need a logo? Use Canva. Want to schedule social media posts? Try Buffer or Later. Need a free landing page? Use Card. Need customer management? Start with Notion or Trello. There are even entire business models like affiliate marketing or digital content creation that can be launched from your phone using nothing more than apps and free software. And don't underestimate the power of learning tools. Websites like YouTube, Coursera, and Skillshare offer hundreds of tutorials, case studies, and business tips for free or very low cost. You can learn to run Facebook ads, design professional graphics, or even code your own website, all without ever enrolling in a formal class. Your $50 doesn't need to be spent on education when so much high-quality content is freely available. The key is knowing where to look and being willing to put in the effort. Because while the tools are free, the time and discipline they require are real. You must be willing to do the research, test different approaches, and learn from what works. But when you do, your $50 becomes a backup, not a lifeline. You're no longer dependent on paid services or outsourced help. You're empowered by the resources you've discovered on your own. Leveraging free tools and platforms isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset. It's the decision to use what's already in front of you instead of waiting for more capital or a better situation. It's recognizing that in today's world, information is currency, creativity is capital, and execution is everything. With the right approach, the tools you need to start, grow, and thrive are already in your hands. So before you think about what you can buy with your $50, take stock of what's available for free. Master those tools. Use them to their full potential. Build smart. Build lean. And remember, some of the greatest businesses ever created started with nothing more than an internet connection, a dream, and a whole lot of resourcefulness. One of the most powerful things you gain when starting a side hustle isn't just income, it's a shift in mindset. It's moving from thinking to doing, from planning to acting. When you decide to start something with as little as $50, what you're really doing is stepping into an action-oriented way of life. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions, and you start asking yourself, what can I do right now with what I have? That simple question can change everything. In many ways, the hardest part of starting anything new isn't the money or the tools. It's overcoming hesitation. It's the fear of failure, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of putting yourself out there. But the moment you choose to act anyway, even with a small step, you begin building something far more valuable than a hustle. You begin building confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from doing something, learning from it, and doing it again better, smarter, stronger. With a side hustle, even the tiniest bit of momentum can change your perspective. The first sale, the first client, the first dollar you earn outside of a regular paycheck. It does something to you. It proves that you can. That feeling is fuel. And once you taste it, you start to see the world differently. You begin to think, if I did this with $50, what could I do with $100? With $500? With consistent effort? It opens your mind to possibilities you hadn't considered before, and that's where true growth begins. But action requires intention. You don't want to jump into a hustle randomly or out of desperation. You want to approach it with purpose. What are you passionate about? What are you naturally good at? What do people already ask you for help with? Answering these questions can point you in the right direction. Then, instead of just spending your $50, you direct it towards something that aligns with your skills, your interests, and your values. That's where passion meets practicality. Let's be clear, this isn't about chasing fast money. It's about building something that can last. When you take action with that mindset, you make decisions differently. You're not just trying to make a quick buck, you're trying to create a system, a rhythm, a habit. You're thinking long term. You're asking, how can I build something that earns while I sleep? Or how can I create something scalable, something that grows with me? That's the difference between a hustle and a hobby. It's not just something you do on the side, it's something you're growing with purpose. And the beauty is, the more action you take, the more you learn. Every post you make, every pitch you write, every product you test, it teaches you something. Even when you fail, you're actually gaining information. You're learning what your audience wants, what doesn't work, and how to pivot. That kind of real-world education is priceless. No course or business book can teach you what a week of real hustle can. Action also builds discipline. When you commit to doing something every day, even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, that's when your hustle begins to take shape. You build consistency. You create systems. You find your rhythm. And that rhythm becomes progress. Slowly but surely, you begin to trust yourself more. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through. And that self-trust, that's what fuels real success. So if you're waiting for a sign, let this be it. Don't wait for a perfect plan. Don't wait until you have $500 or a big team or all the answers. Start now. Start messy. Start small. Because progress doesn't require perfection, it only requires action. Your $50 won't move the world by itself, but your decision to act can move your world. And that's more than enough to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring this conversation to a close, I want you to hold one truth close to your heart. You don't need a fortune to start creating one. You don't need to wait for the stars to align, for someone to give you permission, or for the perfect time to arrive. With just $50 in your hand, a clear intention in your mind, and the courage to take that first step, you already have more than enough to begin. We've talked about the power of starting small, of making strategic decisions with limited resources, of using the countless free tools and platforms at your fingertips, and most importantly, of choosing action over hesitation. These aren't just business principles, they're life principles. They teach you to lead with confidence, to invest in yourself, and to build something meaningful, one thoughtful move at a time. Because this isn't just about side hustles. It's about stepping into your potential. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable of creating, growing, and thriving on your own terms. It's about knowing that no matter how small your starting point may seem, what truly matters is the size of your belief and the strength of your will. So take the idea that's been living in your heart. Dust it off. Refuse to wait any longer. Use what you have, right where you are, and start building. Your journey doesn't begin with a bank loan or a big investment. It begins with you, your decision, your action, your belief. The time is now. The opportunity is real. And the power? The power has been within you all along. Thank you.